ます。八戸警察署の、中にいますが、揺れています。かなりひどい揺れています。まだ揺れています。大きく揺れています。
A powerful magnitude 7.6 earthquake struck off the northeastern coast of Japan late on December 8, 2025, setting off widespread alarm across the country and prompting a tsunami warning for coastal regions extending from Hokkaido through Aomori and down toward the Pacific-facing areas of the Tohoku region. The earthquake occurred late at night when most residents were at home, and the sudden, forceful shaking lasted long enough to cause panic among households throughout the region. Reports from Aomori Prefecture described the shaking as strong and continuous, with many residents forced to steady themselves against walls or crawl to safer locations as household items fell from shelves and buildings vibrated intensely. The Japan Meteorological Agency confirmed that the quake originated offshore at a depth generally associated with destructive ground motion on land, while still providing enough distance to allow authorities to issue an immediate tsunami warning. Within minutes of the initial tremors, emergency broadcast systems activated across multiple prefectures. Coastal towns and villages heard loud alarms, and public warning messages were transmitted through loudspeakers, radio networks, television broadcasts, and mobile emergency alert. The messages urged residents to evacuate quickly to higher ground, avoid riverbanks, and stay clear of coastal road.
Jishin kite shinu. Ooh. やばいやばいやばいやばい。やばいやばいやばいやばい。えぐいえぐいえぐい。
Even in locations not directly facing the Pacific Ocean, local governments encouraged precautionary movement away from low-lying zones due to uncertainties regarding wave direction and potential localized surges.
Pada nyalain semua kapalnya ini. Kapalnya nggak kapal. Takut gesek kapalnya ini. Aduh.
Throughout the night, thousands of residents began moving toward designated evacuation centers. Many did so in darkness or with only portable lights, as some communities experienced power disruptions immediately after the quake. Families with young children hurriedly packed blankets, water bottles, and personal documents. Older residents reported relying on neighbors or volunteers to assist them as they navigated uneven ground, stairways, or narrow street.
Earthquake.
Emergency response teams worked rapidly to guide traffic and prevent congestion, particularly in coastal towns where roads are narrow and evacuation routes are limited. Community volunteers helped operate shelters, manage indoor heating equipment, distribute emergency supplies, and register evacuees to ensure an accurate account of those who had reached safety.
震度6強とか7いってるよ。
窓がネス。
ネス。全部。から気をつけてください。
Infrastructure systems across the region experienced varying degrees of disruption. Railway operators suspended services throughout the night, including local trains, rapid lines, and several high-speed routes that are designed with safety sensors that automatically halt operations during major earthquakes. Rail technicians conducted detailed inspections of tracks, bridges, tunnels, and control systems, while station staff worked to assist stranded passengers. Several highways and major routes were temporarily closed as civil engineers inspected overpasses, slopes, and retaining walls for potential damage. Power companies reported outages in multiple residential areas, though emergency crews quickly began dispatching repair teams once seismic activity stabilized. Hospitals across Aomori, Iwate, and Hokkaido confirmed that they activated their emergency medical preparedness systems, secured backup power, and ensured that operating rooms and trauma units were ready to respond to possible casualties. Throughout the night and into the early morning hours, the national government closely monitored the unfolding situation. Updates were provided on coastal sea levels, the safety status of critical infrastructure, and the availability of evacuation transportation. Government officials emphasized that, despite the rapid response, the public should remain cautious due to the risk of strong aftershock. Residents were urged not to return home prematurely, especially if their homes were located near slopes, older buildings, or areas with visible structural cracks. Coastal monitoring stations continued to track wave activity long after the initial quake. While early data suggested that tsunami waves were smaller than the highest risk predictions, authorities maintained a conservative stance until all potential wave movements had been fully recorded. Fishing ports and harbors conducted their own inspections of seawalls, fishery equipment, breakwaters, and mooring facilities. Workers assessed whether boats had been displaced by sea level disturbances and whether piers and docks had sustained damage from fluctuating water pressure. Several coastal communities restricted access to waterfront areas until structural safety inspections were completed, both to reduce the risk of accidents and to prevent interference with official assessments. Schools across affected prefectures announced closures or delayed openings as staff inspected classrooms for ceiling damage, water leakage, cracked windows, or fallen equipment. In some districts, school gymnasiums served as evacuation shelters, and classes could not resume until evacuees safely returned home. Businesses issued notices regarding operational disruptions, and several factories in the region temporarily halted production to inspect machinery and ensure worker safety. Retail stores, particularly convenience stores, reported a surge in demand for bottled water, batteries, canned food, and portable chargers, reflecting the public's concern over potential aftershocks and extended power interruptions. Experts continued to analyze the earthquake's characteristics and origins. Seismologists noted that the magnitude and depth were consistent with patterns observed along the Pacific tectonic boundary, where large earthquakes have historically occurred.
緊急地震速報です。強い揺れに警戒してください。
Specialists emphasized that long-term seismic awareness remains essential for residents in these regions due to the complex interactions of tectonic plates in the area. They encouraged households to review their emergency kit supplies, identify safe exit routes, secure heavy furniture, and participate in community disaster drills when available. Meteorological officials reminded the public that even moderate aftershocks could trigger additional warnings and advised residents to follow all instructions from local authorities. As the day progressed, communities across the northeastern region of Japan began conducting detailed inspections of homes, commercial buildings, public infrastructure, and essential facilities. Local governments coordinated waste collection for broken items and provided information on temporary housing options for residents whose homes required further safety evaluations. While the earthquake caused considerable disruption and uncertainty, early warnings, extensive public training, advanced infrastructure, and a swift governmental response helped reduce the overall impact.